Remember when 7 straight victories felt like a mountain for this team to climb just 2 short months ago? And now they rattle it off after the rare opportunity that they do, in fact, drop a game, which hasn't happened often over the last month, earning 25 of the last 28 games now won by the Boston Red Sox. I'm just going to have to keep coming into every show with the same question. What the heck is happening?
Win 7 in a row, 25-3 since July 3rd, 30-5 since June 25th. I thought that you were going to say that, at least when you started talking about 7 wins in a row, I said, well, that's what they won in the whole month of April and the whole month of May, pretty much.
It seemed that way. It is.
Compared to now.
I've tried to rack my brain, like, the more that this goes on, of turnarounds, anything like this that I can remember in sports history. Apart from, like, the 2019 Nationals, who started off the season 10, 12 games under 500, I think, like, around the end of May. Then they were able to turn it around with a rookie Juan Soto, go on to win the World Series.
I think they were sub 500 at the All-Star break.
Were they too?
Yeah.
Okay, so they had it lingering on a little deeper into the summer, but other than that, like, this is remarkable, and they're doing it at a clip where they're now playing 800 baseball. That was, I saw back at the start of the Yankees series, which kind of kicked all of this off when they swept the Yankees over those 4 games at Fenway. Of course, they would then go out west and drop a series to Colorado after that, so there was a little spurt there where it wasn't going so well. But at that time, Nesson put up a post that was like, hey, nothing gets you back like a rivalry. And the thinking was, well, all they would need to do is play about 800 ball over the next month and a half to get back into it. That is exactly what they have done. The Red Sox today sit a game behind the New York Yankees.
You're right.
And that was, 14 and a half games 35 days ago. The Yankees led the Red Sox by 14 and a half games just 35 days ago. And there's a chance to tie them in the standings tonight.
It is remarkable. Now, the other thing, in the context of the Nationals in 2019, how far did they get?
They won the World Series.
They won the World Series. Yeah,
they won all the
way. That's the. I mean, all this stuff is great.
Yep.
But what the Nationals did was they finished the job
kept it going.
And that's the test that awaits the Red Sox. Although they've now been doing this for a month and a half.
Yeah,
30-5.
You mentioned that mark right there, 30-5. The Boston Red Sox. Let's see, where is that 30-5 number in here? I got it somewhere. They're only like the, I don't know, X amount of team. Here it is, 26 team in the World Series era, 1903 to present.
Yeah.
To go 30-5 or better in a 35-game stretch. Each of the other 25 teams made the postseason, and 10 of them won the World Series. 10 out of 26 is not a bad clip.
That's more than a third. Yeah, more than a third. They've won 9 straight series, and the record, I guess, is 11.
The Major League record?
Back in 1912.
Yeah, the Red Sox tied their franchise record, which dates back to 1912 as well, with those 9 straight series victories. I think that's what it is.
I think it's their record, but still, that's pretty remarkable when you think about it. And also, by the way, I started to talk about this yesterday or the day before, but Sonny Gray is now 14-2. He's tied for the Major League record lead in wins.
Yep, tied for his career high
with Suarez of Philadelphia. How he is not one of the very 1 or 2 favorites for the All-Star, for the Cy Young Award at this point. Makes no sense, and it just goes back to think about how ridiculous it was that he didn't make the All-Star team, even over his teammate Suarez, or didn't get picked as the replacement for Suarez, who was named to the team. And Suarez is
4-3. 4-3.
He's got a 3.15 ERA going into tonight's game. I don't know what he did or said about somebody, or
he was from Philadelphia and the game was in Philly.
Yeah, I guess.
I think there was a little nod there.
That would have been some good audio there for a few seconds when he would come into the game, but they didn't think of it in that terms. But his ERA is. I mean, it was 2.93 going into that game last night.
2.75 or 2.78 coming out of it.
Pitched 6 scoreless innings last night in the shutout win. So
8 Ks, just back on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of the guys. He's been one of the constants. He's had like 1 or 2 bad starts, and he's had about 15 good ones.
Yep.
Pretty good ratio.
The Drive brought to you by Next Home Experience, the market leader. Get looped and get sold with Next Home Experience. Ernie and I are live in the Greenway Equipment Studios, brought to you by Greenway Equipment Sales, your locally owned John Deere dealer. See the Smith Brothers in Bangor and Ellsworth. Because nothing runs like a deer, we got to tee up today's show because this first segment's going to go a little different. In about a minute and a half, we're going to take a 2-minute break. And then on the other side of that, we're going to be joined by Ricky Craven to promote the Tim's Plumbing 100 and a full day of racing coming up this weekend at Ricky Craven Speedway, presented by Bar Harbor Bank and Trust. He'll hang out with us for about 15 minutes, and then we'll break, get you a meatball of the day, sports center, and a weather forecast at the bottom of the hour. We'll have the drive poll as well in this first hour. And we'll give you the cue to call for our Sox ticket sweepstakes presented by Dunnett's Appliance and Service. So, while we get ready for all that to unfold, the Drive is brought to you by your local family-owned McDonald's on Main Street and Union Street in Bangor, as well as Wilson Street in Brewer. They have extra value meals with extra value when you use your McD app in August. Get a classic Big Mac or Filet-O-Fish extra value meal for only $8 when using your McD app. Let's take that break, and when we come back in just a couple minutes' time, we'll be joined on the Heroes Hotline by Newburgh's own Ricky Craven. All right, we are back here in the Greenway Equipment Studios after that brief timeout. The Drive is brought to you in part by Tim's Plumbing, and make sure to mark your calendars for this Saturday, August 8th, as Ricky Craven Speedway roars to life with the Tim's Plumbing 100 featuring the Darlings Pro Stock Series and $4,000 to the winner. It's one of the biggest nights of the season. Bring the family out and experience the excitement with Tim's Plumbing 100 this Saturday at Ricky Craven Speedway, and let's head to the Heroes Hotline to talk with Ricky himself. Joining us here on the Drive, Newburgh's own Ricky Craven. Ricky, how you doing today?
Great, Mark. It's great to connect with you again, and you really would be remiss if you didn't share it with the world that you're part of the family out here and you contribute a lot. So
the voice of Speedway, some have said.
Yes.
Yeah, I had all I could do to keep you from just talking about that to the point where you would wonder if you were ever going to get the chance to talk.
Yeah, I haven't seen that side of you yet. You do a remarkable job, and everyone here, everyone on the team is proud to have you part of the family.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, certainly, and it's been an exciting couple of months out there at the track, getting it underway from opening day back on June 13th to coming up here to the Tim's Plumbing 100 in just a couple of days' time. Let's start right there. We've had this conversation over the last couple of months out at the track, but just your expectations going into it and what you have experienced from the community, fan support, everything over these first 2 months.
Yeah, my expectations were to come home and implement with this facility a higher level of auto racing, visibly a higher impression of the facility. And we've had over 75 partners team up with us in this short amount of time. We have been working away since late September last year. And I'm extremely proud of the progress we've made, and we're off to a very strong start.
What has been to date the biggest challenge in getting to at least this point of your initial year as the owner?
Honestly, all of it. And when I say that, it seems vague, but you have to remember that it was basically a white canvas. There was not much here that we could use, and we've given the property a facelift. We've made additions to the venue and to the racetrack, like the scoreboard, the timing board, the hospitality tent, what we call the Speedway Club. We've made major improvements to the property, the fence, the racetrack itself, and I think most of it, Mark, would be incorporating all of the changes along with assembling the team. And we started with, I think, really just a few people. And now we're a group of 35 plus people that gather every weekend and perform an event. And those 35 people are actual team members, but the team actually swells far, far beyond that. And the intangible things that are required to make this happen and happen on a high level, we're talking a few hundred people. Tim Davis is a great example of that. The founder and the owner of Tim's Plumbing has been an enormous asset to this racetrack, and an enormous asset to me, because you got to remember, I'm from here, but I've been gone for 40 years. So, from the age of in my late teens to I'm now 60, I had a lot of catching up to do, and I've made some new friends, and Tim's one of those.
Yeah, let's talk about the race coming up this weekend. It's got Tim's name on it, the Tim's Plumbing 100 on Saturday. We get the Darlings Pro Stock Series rolling back through Ricky Craven Speedway. The rigs will be out there. The pits will be full. The stands will be packed. What are you expecting to see on Saturday?
It's going to be a continuation of a great new series, the Pro Stock Series, brought to you by Darlings, the family of automotive. They are... This has created an energy and an inertia that exceeds even my expectations. We've had at least 20 cars for each of the first 4 races. This will be no different. It's a 7-race series. Race number 5 is a race that we've had circled on the calendar because Tim's not just another name, sponsor, business. Tim's very, very deeply incorporated in the racetrack. He's a race fan. He is a race enthusiast. He has great knowledge of the sport. And along with a lot of other folks, like obviously Bar Harbor Bank and Trust, Allen Farm Fence, I mentioned Darlings, Harvey RV and Marine, Central Maine, Harley. These folks have stepped up. They contribute enormously. And so the Tim's Plumbing 100, we knew was going to be a big event. And since we signed the deal, Tim has gone full throttle.
Yes, he has. It has been very exciting times out there as we talk with Ricky Craven on the Heroes Hotline, Mark Paulette and Ernie Clark in the studio.
Ricky, you mentioned averaging 20 cars or more for your feature races throughout the course of the season to date. And Mark and I were talking about this yesterday off air, just the fact that like everything else in Maine, there's only a certain number of people who do most of this type of stuff. And so to be able to get numbers like that or car counts like that, not the easiest thing in the world to do necessarily, especially if there isn't a tradition of having that over the years. How have you been able to go about doing that to get good counts and attract drivers to a place maybe they hadn't gone to or been to in a while?
Yeah, Ernie, it's great to connect with you again, and thank you for all you've done for this area. So it's hard to attain it, and it's hard to make it a reality. It's equally hard to keep it. The cars that we're racing out here are $100,000 to $150,000 race cars. So that in itself is a major hurdle or obstacle, preventing us from preventing a track from having a deep car count. We have it because we have a great partnership with so many Central Maine businesses, and all of them are part of the solution. They're 5 or 10 year agreements. They see the big picture, and we've taken the energy and the horsepower that they've given us, and we've implemented it to the structure of the purses, the incentives, obviously the racetrack. I mean, we've transformed the racetrack, Ernie. It's a completely different visual, and most people, when they come here for the first time, say, "Wow, I feel like I'm at a different place." There's been so many people behind that. One of our competitors, Mike Hopkins, and his businesses, they've contributed to it. But I circle back to Tim Davis, his family, his employees, his business. They're very, very highly regarded in Central Maine. And when people see those type brands at our racetrack, it brings credibility. And, my coming home might have been the catalyst, but it would have been a hollow victory if I hadn't secured and teamed up with these great businesses that are associated with our track.
How confident were you that you were going to be able to do that?
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, and I
don't
don't,
say.
and that's not. It's not just a talk to talk. It's a walk the walk. Like I had a commitment in Florida in March that I absolutely could not get out of and wouldn't have tried, and that's the only time I've left the property, left the area since I became the owner. I'm not going to be able to do that forever. There's going to be some balance in my life, but I've literally worked 7 days a week along with the entire team for, with the exception of 4 days in March since I bought this property. And everybody that signed on here has done the same exact thing. That's the bottom line.
And so year one is half over, not quite, almost, somewhere in the middle of the season. Just talk a little bit about maybe a couple of highlights of the season to come, even beyond this weekend, which you get a big race here with the Tim's 100.
Yes, this DJ Shaw won the first race. He's a 7-time champ. That was not a big surprise because he would have been considered one of the favorites. But there's been a lot of competition throughout every one of the events. It's been phenomenal racing. And this racetrack, because of the design of it and the added banking in the outer lane, the high groove as it's called, it's some, without question. I think it's the best racing in New England. We had this amazing story develop literally within days before we had our first event. There's a team owner here named Anthony Wilcox who had been associated with Mike Hopkins in his racing program for a couple decades. He has a car. He rallied the troops, and he hired Austin Terrace, who was last year's Oxford 250 winner, a young talent, 23 years old. They merged. They put together a team within, the 11th hour of our off season, and the net of that is he finished fourth in the first pro stock race. It was an excellent event for them, and then they backed it up with 3 consecutive wins. And I'll tell you, by all accounts, that's the story of the year right now. Austin Terrace and a local guy who has deep roots in racing, particularly here at Speedway 95. His dad raced in the 1970s here at Speedway. Willie, as he's called, Willie Wilcox, came in here, and he made a major contribution at the 11th hour, and the results on the racetrack speak for themselves.
Yeah, it's been great having Austin as part of the field out there and watching him, like you're talking about, come through victory lane week after week after week. Well, Ricky, we know you got to run and get to some other matters out there at the track ahead of this weekend's races. The Tim's Plumbing 100, which caps the night. That's the 6th race of the night. We got great feature action leading up to that as well. Ricky, we appreciate the time you took for us here today, and we'll see you out there this weekend.
Mark, real quick, we got to give a little extra credit to Tim. He always goes above and beyond, and he has obtained a band, Bullseye, to play in the club from 4 to 8 tomorrow evening.
Okay.
We've got a full day of testing tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So anyone listening, if you would like to come to the Speedway for the first time, we'll have the front side open at about 4 o'clock, and we'll be testing in the garage area. You'll see some big names here testing from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be a full day, and the Tim's Plumbing 100 actually starts tomorrow.
There we go.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Ricky. We'll be talking with Tim coming up in the drive at 5. Once again, Ricky Craven joining us right there on the Heroes Hotline from his Speedway, presented by Bar Harbor Bank and Trust. Should be an exciting weekend action out there on Saturday, a jam-packed day. And like he let the cat out of the bag, I am the voice of God out there. I'm the voice in the sky that comes over the speakers.
Is that the official title?
I think it's just whatever.
VOG?
Whatever I'm left to say when I'm, what do you do out there? Voice of God, voice of the place. You make it sound big and
Wow.
better than it really is. But I knew nothing about motorsports going in, and it's been truly fascinating getting to kind of dive into that world.
Well, it's certainly a lot different from the stick and ball sports that
Completely.
you do. I mean, and I've kind of been through it. I've been a NASCAR fan since the 80s.
Yeah.
But, but it is different. It's a different vibe in terms of, being a media connection to it.
Yep.
Being a fan, it's different. I mean, the whole thing is different, but it's no less entertaining or exciting to the people who are fans of it. Believe me, it's kind of crazy out there. Matter of fact, in my office, I've got a picture that I took at New Hampshire Speedway, Motor Speedway. This would have been back in the mid '90s. Ricky Craven was the NASCAR Cup Rookie of the Year in 1995. So it would have been right in that 95 or 96. And I have it, and it's Dale Earnhardt. It's just cars on the track. Dale Earnhardt, the 41, which is the Kodiak car that Ricky Craven started driving when he first went into Cup, and then Jeff Gordon was behind him.
Not bad.
So I felt
Not
pretty
bad
good
lineup.
about that. I'm sure Ricky liked to see that too, because that would put him in pretty good stead. And of course, he went on and had a great career, won a couple of races.
Yep.
97 Daytona 500. He was with Hendrick Sports by then. He and
1, 2, 3.
Gordon and Terry Labonte were 1, 2, 3. Ricky was third in that race. So it's been an exciting career, and then he went through the media period.
Yep.
And worked for Fox, I believe, and ESPN.
Yep.
If I remember right, for 15 years probably. And now he's back home getting this thing up and going. And for one thing, it's an economic benefit to the area as
Sure.
much as it is when you get full crowds in. And it's nobody's fault in terms of previous ownership and stuff like that. It's just Ricky has got resources that other people in Maine don't have relative to connections, and he's made the most of them here so far in the first year. And it sounds like just based on car counts and the quality of the fields that he's been getting for the races that he's had, the premier races in particular, things are working right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how it continues to evolve both the rest of this year and then down the road as Ricky's made a long-term commitment to the track.
Yeah, it has been it's been exciting so far to be out there, be a part of, and just see the people pouring through the gates. It's kind of that thing where like the first weekend you open up with a big pro stock race and the stands are packed out, and then you think, okay, is it going to be the same thing when I return next week? And it's held steady. It's been impressive.
Yeah, you see it once, and the other thing I would just say, and I haven't been out there yet this year at a race. I've actually went one day, I was riding around.
Check out the
with my
property.
brother. We checked it out there, and there were a few cars out there turning laps. I was thinking about getting my own vehicle out there, but I don't know if they were going to let a four-wheel drive Toyota pickup on the track that particular day.
I think there's a driver from Dover Foxcroft in the field this year.
Probably
Rookie
is.
driver.
There probably is. I mean, it's people are getting excited about this sport again in that sense, and but the changes that have been made have been, if you haven't been there in 5 years, let's say,
Get out there.
you gotta give it a shot, because I think you'll find that it's quite different, and the quality of the racing it's just deeper. I mean, there are just more good drivers, and that's half the battle. Talking about not enough kids playing high school sports anymore. That's kind of hurt that. Well, it's the same thing with everything. You just got fewer people, and so you got to kind of do more things to create interest, and especially when you're attracting people from maybe southern Maine to join the folks that are local. It's a haul to get up here.
Good driving makes my job easier because, again, being a complete newbie to that world and being handed a microphone and saying, all right, for about the next 7 hours, you're live. Just go.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm depending on good driving out there, because that's the thing, like, the play-by-play brain takes over at a certain point where you're just kind of relaying information. If they're spaced out, though, that's when I start to remember I'm new to this world.
Okay, so just what are you putting across to the public at the races? I mean, are you doing a play-by-play on the races?
Yep. Yeah. I do kind of an hour. I host an hour-long pre-show leading up to the races from 4 to 5. And then starting at 5, the heat races start rolling, and I'm on the mic.
Letting people know who's winning and who's
winning,
coming up on the outside, and
low side, high side,
occasionally wrecking, and
fastest track time out there. I've got that on my phone right in front of me.
Yeah, and they got a nice scoreboard there now too, and the pit areas have been
revamped,
wildly expanded and upgraded, and so it's give it a shot. I mean, it's going to be warm, so
that it will be,
but.
We got a nice heat pump where I hang out. That's been a good saving grace for me this year. As someone who doesn't appreciate the heat too much.
Yeah, it's a good time of year to go out there. You're right between seasons right now too. I mean, if you look, if you're like, what am I going to do this Saturday night? It's like
Perfect time for it.
there you go, give it a shot.
Got something every weekend for you. Here on The Drive, we are brought to you by Hero Sports Grill and Entertainment Center. Heroes is the place to be in downtown Bangor and at herosportsgrill.com. Also brought to you in part by UMaine Athletics. We got our next UMaine Athletics remote coming up tomorrow. Jim's going to be up in Orono hanging out with some members of Black Bear Athletics. This fall, it's time to pack the stands at Alphon Stadium and cheer on Maine football. Season tickets on sale now, and they give you the best value and the best seats for every home game. Visit goblackbears.com/tickets. We got to take our first full time out here in the show. When we return, we'll get you a meatball of the day, a sports center, and a weather forecast. Franklin Arias is figuring out AAA. 9 games played, 333, 3 home runs, and 10 RBI. You add that on to the 318, 19 homers, and 52 RBI that he hit in Portland, and he is having himself an impressive minor league season. In fact, today, he just jumped up to the number 2 prospect in the game, according to Baseball America.
So this begs the question, and it's probably going to be a daily question until we get a specific answer to it. They are going to have to bring him up.
They're going to have to address it.
I mean, because
They're gonna have to
what are
address
the
it.
other options they have right at the moment?
I mean, Monasterio at the plate is fantastic. He's hitting 340 since the beginning of July, but defensively a little bit of a liability there. And then you're kind of
It's
waiting
either
on
him or Trevor
Story
Story
when he comes back.
Jeez. I mean, if you're in a position to win a division, put yourself in a position to have a legitimate chance in a weak American League, and you got some guy down in AAA hitting 350 and catching every ball that gets hit to him. I mean,
The only
how
reason,
much do they stand to lose if they don't bring him up? And then, I guess if you have a work stoppage, then he can go play minor leagues if you don't bring him up or to the 40-man roster. But if you do, then that's what you lose a year of whatever. But you get it now.
But
if you get it now and you win something, then who cares about the next year?
I am right there with you. Let's hear from the Red Sox president of baseball operations or chief baseball officer or whatever exactly his title is there at Fenway, Craig Breslow, talking about Franklin Arias and that very thing. Pretty close to it. He's kicking.
And he's got a little time. I mean, I don't know when the magic date is for having to...
Oh, yeah, there isn't one.
There isn't one anymore.
In these days, as long as you're in the system, you can get called up to the playoff roster.
Okay. That's good to know. And as long as Monasterio is hitting and not screwing up in the field, fine.
Yeah.
But you would hate to think that you get into a playoff situation and Monasterio boots one and it costs you something when you had this guy sitting and in AAA and with the numbers to justify. The only number he doesn't have to justify going up is an age.
Yeah, that's it.
Everything else justifies him being a major leaguer, starting on a major league team. And so it's not an easy decision to make because, so much of it's about money.
If he keeps this going for the month of August, though, at some point you have to address that. If you look up at the end of this month, he's got 3 homers in 9 games right now. If he somehow posts a 10 home run month at Worcester in August, he makes the decision for you at a certain point.
Well, and you have to bring him up far enough ahead of time so that he's not just like all of a sudden getting used to 103-mile-an-hour fastballs in the playoffs. He's got to have a chance to it's not like being a pitcher. It's different when you're a hitter. In that situation, you got to give him a chance to make those adjustments too.
Definitely. The Drive brought to you by Bangor Window Shade and Drapery, offering custom blinds, shades, drapery, and outdoor awnings at 105 Main Street in downtown Bangor. Also brought to you by Premium Choice Broadband. They're local, family-owned, and bringing affordable high-speed internet to Maine for over a decade. You can call or email and mention PCB the Ticket to get 1 free month for new residential customers. Visit PremiumChoiceBroadband.com for details. Also brought to you by Dean's Detailing, the leader in auto detailing for over 55 years. Renew your vehicle's appearance, protect your auto investment, look good and feel good in a clean, shiny car, and book your appointment at deansdetailing.com. We got to take a time out before we get there, a sports center and a weather forecast. Craig Breslow right there on the Greg Hill Show this morning on WEEI, making his weekly appearance on Boston radio, talking about Marcelo Meyer and kind of taking it upon himself to clear up. It's the silliness of the world that we live in, where you go on social media and some faceless account can put out that Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony were involved in a love triangle, or Marcelo Meyer might have
drinking
hooked
every
up,
night.
hooked up with Roman Anthony's sister, and that's why they had to ship him across the country, and Roman's down in Fort Myers, and this, that, and the other, and it's just like, do we have critical thinking anymore? Can we piece through what's real and what's not?
Yeah, in an ideal world, you would ignore it, but you can't ignore it because. And I'm not blaming these guys, but somebody asked him about it this morning.
Yeah.
That
was Greg Hill. That was his question.
How it continues to keep the story alive. Now I don't know what the heck happened. Obviously, things weren't good because they traded him across the country, and he was one of the foundational pieces of the next generation of Red Sox world champions not so long ago.
Yep.
But it's just it hasn't worked out. There are enough things without stuff that's this kind of stuff. Just between. He's hitting 220 at the major league level, and
Can't finish a year.
It's 4 years now that he hasn't been able. Well, he might be able to finish this year if he comes back.
Yeah.
But he's missed. How many games he missed? 50, 60 already, or maybe a few less. But still, a sizable chunk of every season. And then with 3 years in a row in the minors, he didn't finish the season. And so at a certain point, you've got to move on. And they got a piece for him that they hope will help the team in terms of Miller.
Made him better for this year.
Yeah.
You can't really argue that point with the production that he was given.
By the way, you hear about Tristan Casas.
Surgery today, done for the year.
He didn't have anything wrong with his wrist before, did he?
Never heard about that. It was only the blown out knee and a strained oblique or issue with the side.
Did they sign him to a contract?
No.
Okay. So he's still scratching around on my league money.
Yep, he's getting paid the minimum to be down in Florida.
Because otherwise, geez.
Yeah, that would have been one that didn't really turn out well because he has now missed, 394 games over the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's
basically 3 years.
2.5 seasons, 3 years. He had 1 year he kind of had a full season.
He had
23 or so.
He had a May or a June through August where he hit 20 homers, and it's okay, you extrapolate that out. There's our 35, 40 homer, 100 RBI guy in the middle of the lineup.
Add him to the list.
Just like Bobby Dahlbeck before him.
Yeah, exactly. Although it's hard to say. It doesn't matter. But he just got he kept getting hurt, and I don't know that.
Casas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that body is,
pretty fragile.
The injury that he's trying to work back from right now, the torn patellar tendon, that's one, or patellar tendon rupture, that's one that even 5-10 years ago was a career ender. The medical advancements that have been made in recent times, that's one that I remember Victor Cruz of the New York Giants, that kind of ended his career, that injury.
Yep.
Yeah, that same deal.
I shouldn't be too hard on him for that one necessarily, but it's just, you start adding these, and I don't know where he was relative to coming back.
I don't think he was close. The report today that came out after the news of the surgery said that he already appeared unable to return this season from the two things he was dealing with.
So, at a certain point, you get rusty.
Yeah. Wilson has taken that. Wilson has taken that job, and he has run with it.
Yeah, for a couple of years.
He is the first baseman for.
Yeah, he'll be there for a couple more. He's 35, so
I think he's got 2 more years.
2 more years left,
control.
and maybe by then Casas will be ready to go
after taking 5 years off. For our drive poll today, it has been a wild roller coaster ride of a regular season for the Red Sox, from 13 games under 500 to the best 35-game stretch in franchise history. We're simply asking, who has surprised you the most on this year's team? We have Chad Tracy, the interim manager up there, Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, Cedon Rafaela, Caleb Durbin, Peyton Tollier, Jake Bennett, and Sonny Gray leading the way with 31%. Rafaela a slight edge over Duran, 26-25.
Over Duran?
Durbin, sorry.
Durbin, yeah.
Duran's been a surprise.
Duran's hot, though. He's hitting 314 in his last 12 games. So 341 in his last 12 games. A couple of hits last night.
He's still going to hit 20 homers, driving 80 RBI, steal 20 bases. If he can just go 1 for 4, go 2 for 4 here for a week or two, get that average up to 225, 230.
He's up to 206 right now on this current roll that he's on. I think it's 15 home runs, 17 stolen bases, and 58 RBIs, which is third on the team.
Yeah.
He's getting plenty. He's getting the at-bats. There's a place for him in the lineup all the time because he's got all the weapons. It's just
putting it together.
Kind of, organizing it in the proper fashion. But
who would you say has surprised you the most? Because from that list, my answer is Caleb Durbin.
It's mine. It's mine, too, because where he came from 163 to where he's, I don't know what he is now, but
right around 250.
Yeah, so he's hitting over 300 since he was hitting 163 and showing no signs of being a major league hitter.
No.
And we were all laughing at him.
Yep.
Pretty much, and I was. I mean, and why wouldn't you? I mean, he was.
They weren't wrong for it.
I mean, ripping Breslow, the trade piece, and all that with the Brewers, and meantime, the guy they gave out, the pitcher, was off to a great start in Milwaukee. Yep. So it was nothing but just badness about that whole situation, and he has gotten it together, and they allowed him the opportunity to get it together.
They did. He got the Pedroia run out there, which even like Pedroia, there were a lot of those comparisons early on. He turned around his season like at the start of May, his rookie year. He just had a rough 3 or 4 weeks, and he was on fire. Caleb Durbin was hitting 163 near the end of May.
Like 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, and just credit to him for the mental fortitude it takes to turn your season around like that in year.
All right, now who's the smaller guy of the two, by the way? I mean, they're both like 5'6", right?
So Durbin, I think he got knocked down a couple. I think he was listed at like 5'8" Milwaukee. Now he's 5'6".
That's his basketball height.
Pedroia, I feel like he was always listed around 5'6" or 5'7". Okay. And if you're listed there, you're a couple
you're
shorter of it.
You're shorter.
Durbin seems a little thicker, a little more barrel built than Pedroia.
But, I mean, obviously good comparisons because they're kind of the same.
He's got that scrappy quality to him.
I don't know that Durbin is outwardly as kind of
he doesn't emote as much
aggressive
now.
as Pedroia, and he hasn't done as much yet. But considering where he was, the fact that he's where he is now, and contributing to pretty much every victory in a positive way lately, it's hard to.
RBI hit last night, the grand slam the night before.
I'm trying to think. See, now, like Bennett, I never heard of, so I don't know what I would have thought about him.
Tully's been a positive surprise, certainly, because the record's 6-6. It's still kind of like one good one and then a couple where he's trying to find it again. But the ERA is 3.3 or somewhere hanging out in the mid-threes.
I'm not really surprised by him just because he was a second-round draft pick, I think.
Yeah, he was the, number 1 or 2 prospect by the end of last year?
Yeah, and he was, he was older. I mean, it wasn't like he was a 19-year-old kid coming out of the Dominican.
3 years of college.
He had 3 years of college, so he's like 23, and he'd been pitching in the SEC. So, I mean, he'd gotten good competition even before he came into the major league. So it wasn't a matter of, it's like Paul Skeens,
Yeah,
I just
rolling.
They're ready to be a major league pitcher, and he was ready. So, and I'm not. Some of these other guys like the shortstop they've got now, never heard of him really.
He's having a good. He is doing what role players do. If they get a month of playing time, they can hit 340 and look solid for you.
I mean, so they've got a bunch of guys that, again, it's the Tampa Bay approach where you find these guys and run them while they're hot, and you hope they're hotter, hope they stay hot. And most of these Sox guys have now for the better part of 2 months. But I would have to, Sonny Gray, 14-2. I don't know that anybody could have projected that.
2.78.
We could have projected 10-7. Something like that.
I'm going to pull up right now my projections.
All right.
Because I do them at the start of every year. And Sonny Gray was a guy who I had higher thoughts on him at the start of camp than I did at the end of camp. I'm pretty sure I remember going back and knocking him down a couple of wins and maybe even adding a couple of losses because of the way he kind of came into the year.
The thing about him, though, is he came to the Red Sox having struck out over 200 batters in each of the last 2 seasons, I believe. So it wasn't like he didn't have stuff.
All right, Sonny Gray. I'm going to find the Red Sox first of all. Sonny Gray, I projected him to go 11-9. He has blown the doors off of that record.
That wasn't the All-Star break number you had.
No, that was that was before the season began. 11-9, and 11-9 with a 3.90 ERA. He's 14-2 at 2.78.
People would have taken that though.
Oh, these numbers? Absolutely.
11-9, ERA under 4. People would have taken that.
Yep.
As a what you would get out of a free agent signee, especially when they got was it the Cardinals that pay most of his salary, like $20 million?
Cardinals
$21 million, I think.
They got him and Wilson Contreras for free.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals are having actually a decent season for where they're at. They're going a little younger in terms of their real rebuilding mode, and that's why those guys were available. But that would have been okay because you didn't know at that time that you weren't going to have Garrett Crochet.
Exactly.
And he has made up for much of Garrett Crochet's absence.
How about just that fact that lost in the, maybe not lost, but swept aside, not thought of all that often. Best month in franchise history, best 35-game stretch in franchise history. You're doing it without your 2 best players on the team coming into the season.
Yeah. Now, with Anthony, it's a smaller sample size.
There certainly is.
But with Crochet, you had 18-5 last season, runner-up for Cy Young
Yep.
to Skubal, and there was no reason to think that he wouldn't be able to come close to doing the same thing, except for the fact that he went from pitching X number of innings 2 years ago, and I think he had to cut him off at like 140.
Yeah, it was like
And then-
3 innings to start after the All-Star
and then
break.
he must have gone close to 200, if not more, last year. Again, 18-5 on the season. So you didn't know how the extra, the long-term impact of the extra innings. And I'm no doctor, so I have no idea if extra innings leads to the particular injury that he has or not. But I mean, it's a conclusion you can, as a layman especially, I can come up with any conclusion. But I mean, it's a conclusion you can kind of
Seems
come
like
to.
a plausible jump.
He hadn't been injured because he had been, kind of babied a little bit in terms of innings. And, we're getting the other side of it this year, unfortunately. But we're able to make up for it with guys like Sonny Gray.
And Chad Tracy said yesterday, we played the sound on yesterday's show, that Roman Anthony took overhand batting practice for the first time yesterday. Garrett Crochet was throwing from 50 to 60 feet. He, again, described both of those kind of in like the infant stages of where they're progressing back to.
He's not throwing 100. He's not throwing 97 miles an hour.
No, he's not even throwing off the
50
mound.
feet. Right. He's it's tossed, basically.
Yep. But Rob Bradford talked to Garrett Crochet yesterday, and this was Crochet's quote on pitching out of the bullpen, trying to come back and just find a role on the team. Quote, "There's no ego about it. It's something I've done before. Like I was just saying, any way possible, I can help this team achieve the goal we set out in spring training. If I could help us achieve it, I don't really care what that role is."
No, and that is the exact way to approach it. Worry about being the ace of the staff next year.
Yep.
If you can come in and help in a bullpen situation, if you can come in and throw gas for 20 pitches, you join Chapman and Whitlock and the new guy Miller.
That'd be dangerous.
And another weapon out of the bullpen is another left-handed weapon out of the bullpen is something that can't hurt come playoff time if he's able to get back to that point.
Start lining up. Kalshi, the prediction market says they're the favorites to win the American League as of today. 20%. One spot in front of the Yankees at 19%. 4% better than Tampa Bay at 16%. The Drive is brought to you by Bangor Mall Cinemas, Greater Bangor's favorite hometown theater for over 40 years. They feature luxury recliners and an upgraded food menu. You can find showtimes and reserve your seat at yourneighborhoodtheater.com. Also brought to you by Fat Panda Boba Tea and Market on Harlow Street in Bangor next to Goslin's Bakery. Sip fresh boba, explore snacks, ramen, and their tasty Jamaican patties. And check out Natural Lawn Care of America. If you want a greener, healthier lawn without harsh chemicals, Natural Lawn of America can help. Organic base care and tick ranger protection. Call 721-0600 or naturallawncare.com/Bangor-ME. Naturally healthier lawns. We got the Drive at 5 coming up next. Before we get there, here is your cue to call for our Red Sox ticket sweepstakes presented by Dunnett's 992-9029. Get in on the drawing.